Hey, welcome back to Making with Z. In this video, I'm going to talk about my Bridgeport J-head milling machine. I've had the machine for a few years. I'm going to make a few videos about the machine, different topics on it. So if you're interested in Bridgeports or milling machines, definitely subscribe and come back to the channel. But in this video, I'll tell you an issue that I had with it after having it, for many years. And let's talk about that. Okay, so here's the issue. I have a lot of tooling, vices and things like that I can put on the machine. And one of the bigger ones that I have is this dividing head down here. So in my 20 years ago when I got the machine, no problem, I was able to lift it up there. It was still heavy even at that time, but now, the problem is getting it from there up to here. So in this video, I'm going to give you one of the solutions, or a solution that I came up with, and see what you think. So this is a solution that I came up with. I'm using the Harbor Freight PA200 electric hoist. The hoist itself sells for about $100 at Harbor Freight, and maybe with some, time to time they have discounts on these. So let's start. I'll show you around this thing. All right, so the unit's rated for 440 pounds in the manual, but it says double line. And what double line means is, you can see here I've got this hook attached to it with a pulley with two lines. And the line goes down through, back up here, and it hooks to the unit itself. So you can unhook it there and just use that hook that's mounted up there with a single line. Now if you do that, the unit's only rated for 220 pounds. Okay, so the unit comes with this control pendant, and I noticed some of the models actually have a rocker switch. I actually prefer the buttons better. You'll see when we're using it, I can jog the buttons real easy up and down. So I think if you're looking, I don't know, I prefer this one, but yeah, watch what you're getting because there are two different versions of this. Now you can mount this, it does come with two brackets, and you can mount it across a pipe instead. And if you do that, you'd be able to actually slide the unit back and forth if you needed to. And the way I'm using it, I'll show you, I didn't need to, so I just mounted it permanently in one position. Okay, the other thing that I bought to make this all work is the 18 by 12 Dolly from Harbor Freight. This allows me to move everything around on the floor and put it away behind the mill when I'm not using it. Okay, step one is to move the table all the way to one side so it'll clear the hoist. So I'll go ahead and do that here. We'll move it all the way to the end so it clears. Okay, the next step is to bring the hook down and hook it in. And now my ceiling's about 9 feet tall, and I have plenty of cable here. So if you got a taller ceiling, probably still can work. But let's go ahead and lift it. Okay, so now the next step is just to bring the table back underneath the unit there. Okay, so the last step here is just to let it down onto the table. Okay. So with the buttons, it does help a little. It's still, you see, a little rough. And having it with two cables actually slows it down a little. One cable makes it travel quite a bit faster. So there you go. So one thing to note, just make sure you're doing this safely. Like in my case, for the dividing head, I actually have a bolt down on the bottom here that when I put it in here, it actually grabs underneath the jaws. So it's not just clamping on the thread here. I'd be afraid that it would let loose or something. So whatever you're lifting, if you're doing a vise or whatever, just make sure that you secure everything to it, that nothing's going to drop on you. So this is the hoist on the Harbor Freight website. At the time that I made this video, it was right around $100 here for the hoist itself. Now if we look at down the page here and scroll down, there's other models available that have more capacity that are a little bit more money. It does fall under several part numbers. I have no idea what part number mine is. Like I noted, if we go back to the picture here, you can see in this picture that it's got the rocker switch where I have the buttons. So there are some differences, and here's how they mounted it. You can mount it across, a pipe or something. It comes with these brackets. So in my case, I mounted it fixed because that's all I'm using it for. But if you're using it for something else, it does have some versatility there. Looking at the owner's manual, they do have the different models listed and what they're capable of. The one I have is the 440 double line, which I explained in the video, 220 single line, and it looks like the cable length is 39 feet. So it does have quite a bit of cable to it. If you use the double line, obviously it'll be half of that, but it works well. Should work for most cases, what you're working on. So here's another photo of it with, the double line, the hook, and the controller that comes with it. Now, one thing, it does have just a duty cycle. You can't run it just continuous. So what they're saying here on the website is you can only use it for so long before it overheats, and then you have to let it cool. But the application I'm using it for would never come close to that for just removing something from the machine. And just some safety information there. So the other item, that I showed in the video that worked for it was this Hullmaster Hardwood Dolly. It's the 18 by 12. It says it'll carry 1,000 pounds, and it's really a really nice dolly. Works really well for this application, and maybe for some other things if you need it. Just the wheels alone and everything are probably worth the price. All right, thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in Bridgeports or milling machines in general, Harbor Freight tools, definitely stay tuned to the channel because I'll have a lot more content on milling machines, the Bridgeport, and different things that I do with it, and things related to some Harbor Freight tools. So definitely subscribe, and hopefully see you soon.